I am delighted to introduce Dr. Jeanne Theoharis, Professor of Political Science, as a distinguished professor. Widely recognized as a leading public intellectual on the history of race relations in American politics, Professor Theoharis is a gifted, probing, and authoritative scholar who, in the words of Professor Peniel Joseph of Tufts University, is a leading voice of a generation of scholars probing the local, national, and international contours of African American history. Author of a significant body of work on race relations and African American freedom movements, Professor Theoharis's most recent study, The Rebellious Life of Rosa Parks, is considered by many to be the definitive biography of this historic and, in many ways, previously unknown freedom fighter. Indeed, this path-breaking work has rapidly become the benchmark study for all future research on Rosa Parks. Letters of recommendation from nationally and internationally recognized experts attest to the prominent position Professor Theoharis now holds in her field. She has been described as a brilliant scholar by Professor Imani Parrott of Princeton University and at the top of a very stellar group of historians and social scientists, according to Professor Barbara Ransby of the University of Illinois at Chicago. In the words of Henry Louis Gates, Jr. of Harvard, and I quote, "Jeanne Theoharis' scholarship is uniquely far-reaching and comprehensive and is really unmatched in the field. She is in the middle of what will continue to be a career marked both by impressive productivity and singular brilliance. I can think of no one who meets and exceeds the criteria of a CUNY Distinguished Professorship more aptly than Jeanne F. Theoharis," end of quote. In addition to these and other critical accolades, Professor Theoharis has received numerous scholarly awards, including the most recent 2014 NAACP Image Award in the biography category. I note as well that Professor Theoharis is viewed by her students and her colleagues as an exceptionally talented and thoughtful teacher, as well as a dedicated mentor to students at all levels of study. In view of her outstanding achievements as a scholar and teacher, I am especially pleased to introduce Professor Jeanne Theoharis.
Thank you so much for this incredible honor. I wanted to say how grateful I am to the board, to President Gould, to the chair of political science, Paisley Kerr, and my colleagues at Brooklyn College for this honor, this incredible honor. I am also incredibly honored to get to teach at Brooklyn College. I have been all over the country in the past 18 months. I've given more than 100 talks at universities across the country, and yet from Princeton to San Diego to Michigan State to Bowdoin, I always want to come back to my students at Brooklyn College, because the conversations we have, the kinds of questions they ask, the grace with which they move through the city, the drive and motivation, I am humbled by. We live in an incredibly segregated country. We live in a country where much public debate is marked by meanness and bitterness, from Twitter to Congress. And yet, on Tuesday evenings in the spring, I taught a class on the politics of race, and Russian immigrant Jews and Pakistani Muslims and Haitians and Puerto Ricans and African Americans and white people and gay people and straight people, we sat there and we listened to each other and we disagreed with each other, and mostly we learned from each other. And I think it models what we can be in this nation. So thank you so much for this.